Welcome back to our channel. It is a beautiful day to dissect the absolute madness happening on our screens. So grab a seat, get comfortable, and let us get straight to the heart of the drama. Let me say this clearly right out of the gate. The writers are playing a very dangerous, very familiar game with Michael and Willow. Willow is currently on an absolute warpath, dead set on ripping Jacinda Bracken completely out of her children's lives, and frankly, I do not blame her one bit. But what is truly infuriating and simultaneously brilliant in its sheer suffocating toxicity is how Michael is reacting to this crisis. Instead of partnering with his ex-wife to protect their family from a mutual threat, Michael is using this chaos as a battering ram to regain control over Willow, because that is exactly what Michael does. He wraps his manipulation in the guise of protection. We have seen this exact same controlling behavior from him with every woman he has ever loved, from Sasha to Nell, and now he is doing it to Willow again. It is a classic soap opera power struggle, but it makes my blood boil because Willow is finally showing some real backbone, and Michael is actively trying to snap it in half. Am I supposed to pretend that this makes sense as a healthy dynamic? No. It is a psychological car crash, and I am watching it with my hands over my eyes, furious at Michael but deeply invested in Willow's fight for autonomy. And then we have Ethan. Ethan. Bringing Nathan Dean back into the fold is a massive choice, but throwing him immediately into a flirtatious, heavy-handed reunion with Christina, that is a structural masterstroke, even if it feels incredibly rushed. We all remember the undeniable spark these two had years ago. The show is banking heavily on that nostalgia, and honestly, it is working because the chemistry is still absolutely there. But what frustrates me as someone who studies the rhythm of this show is the pacing. We are getting these intensely heated moments between them, but the narrative is immediately yanking Ethan away to go have a sit down with Sunny about a job. Why? Why can we not let the romantic tension breathe for a single episode before throwing Ethan into the mob deep end? I know Sunny needs allies against Sidwell, but forcing Ethan onto the Corinthos syndicate payroll the minute he steps off the plane feels like lazy writing. It strips Ethan of his rogue Spencer charm and threatens to turn him into just another one of Sunny's lackeys. But then, just when I am ready to write off Ethan's return as a mob-centric mistake, the writers give us that scene with Tracy. Can we be honest about this for a second? Jane is the absolute anchor of this show. When Tracy and Ethan sit down and actually talk about Luke, you can feel the decades of history vibrating through the screen. Tracy looking at Ethan and seeing the ghost of his father is the kind of emotional truth that General Hospital used to deliver every single day. This is how you honor a legacy. You do not just name drop Luke. You show the lingering, complicated grief of the people he left behind. Tracy's vulnerability in that moment is a masterclass in acting and writing. It almost makes me forgive the rushed Christina scenes. Almost. Because this show needs to remember that Ethan is a Spencer and a Lovett first, not a Corinthos enforcer. Let us pivot to the absolute chess match happening over in the Cassadine and Spencer orbits. Valentine is currently trying to convince Carly that his brand new alliance with Nina is going to be the silver bullet they need to take down Brennan. I am sorry, but this did not work for me at all. Since when does Carly trust Nina, even by proxy? The history between these women is soaked in bad blood, stolen identities, and absolute betrayal. Valentine is a master manipulator, yes, but Carly is not an idiot. The idea that she would just nod along and accept that Nina is suddenly a reliable asset in a high-stakes war against Brennan is laughable. I love James Patrick Stewart. I think he can sell ice to an Eskimo, but the script is asking us to ignore years of established character animosity just to move the plot forward. It is surface-level storytelling. They need to dig deeper into the friction here. Carly should be fighting this alliance tooth and nail, not quietly listening to Valentine's pitch. Now let's talk about the real shocker. Britt is currently spiraling out of control, terrified for the people she cares about, and it looks like she is about to uncover the darkest secret in Port Charles. Rocco is the one who shot Cullum. Let that sink in. Rocco, a teenager. And what is the immediate knee-jerk reaction of the writers? Jason Morgan is going to take the fall. I mean, honestly, how many times are we going to watch Jason Morgan sacrifice his freedom, his life, and his agency to cover up the crimes of someone else's kid? We have been watching this exact same sacrificial lamb routine since the late 90s. It is exhausted. It is tired. But I will say this, making Rocco the shooter is a brilliant, devastating twist. It shatters the innocence of the Falconeri Spencer family. To make matters even more tragically compelling, Dante is out there right now, actively investigating Cullum, completely unaware that he is hunting his own son. The dramatic irony is thick, it is juicy, and it is exactly what a soap opera should be doing. I just wish they had the guts to let Rocco face the music, instead of using Jason as a human shield yet again. Jason taking the blame robs Rocco of the emotional fallout and turns a complex family tragedy into just another mob cover-up. It is a massive missed opportunity for real character growth for Dante and his son. And right in the middle of this Rocco and Jason mess, we have Cassius parading around as the fake Nathan West, getting ready to confess the truth to Britt. This is the emotional payload I have been waiting for. Britt has been through absolute hell, and her connection to the real Nathan was one of the purest things in her life. Having Cassius, a Phazon, manipulate that memory has been sickening to watch. If he actually comes clean, the fallout is going to be nuclear. Britt is not going to just cry. She is going to seek absolute vengeance. The writers have been dragging this fake Nathan storyline out for months, playing with the audience's patience. It is time to detonate the bomb. If they pull back now, if Cassius changes his mind at the last second to protect himself, I am going to lose my mind. They need to let Britt have this realization and let the chips fall where they may. But of course, we cannot have nice things for long, because back in Port Charles, Drew is hosting Liz and Willow is suddenly distracted. Let me break this down because it is driving me insane. Willow is currently fighting the battle of her life against Jacinda, dealing with Michael's suffocating control, and yet the writers are planting seeds that she might be jealous of Liz spending time with Drew. Really? Are we seriously doing this right now? It is such a recycled soapy trope to have the heroine suddenly develop wandering eyes the minute her current relationship gets rocky. It cheapens Willow's character. She should be hyper-focused on her children and her survival, not decoding winks between Drew and Liz. I understand that the show wants to build a Drew and Willow dynamic, but the timing is completely off. It makes Willow look flighty and undercuts the very real, very dangerous stakes of her war with Michael. Let us move on to something that actually has profound emotional weight. Curtis, Isaiah, and Jordan. Curtis is currently backing Isaiah into a corner, forcing a confrontation, and I am absolutely here for it. Curtis is at his best when he is proactive and protective, but the real meat of this storyline is Jordan. Jordan confiding in Curtis about her fears regarding the scars from her accident is one of the most beautiful, raw, and human moments this show has written in years. Jordan is always portrayed as the tough, unbreakable police commissioner. Stripping that armor away and letting her be vulnerable about her physical and emotional scars with the man she used to love is brilliant character work. Tanisha Harper is going to act the absolute house down in these scenes. It proves that you do not need shootouts and mob wars to create compelling television. Sometimes you just need two people in a room dealing with the fragile reality of their own bodies and histories. And then there is Felicia. The spoilers say She is about to receive some deeply troubling news. My immediate instinct? It has to be about Anna Devane. The bond between Felicia and Anna is one of the foundational pillars of General Hospital. Whenever one of them is in trouble, the other is the first to know. If Anna is in danger, Felicia is going to drop everything. But part of me wonders if this is a deliberate misdirection by the writers. What if the news is about Maxie or Mac? The writers love to bait us with Anna and then switch the target to keep us off balance. Whatever it is, I just hope they give Christina Wagner the material she deserves. She has been relegated to a supportive background player for far too long. Let Felicia be the hero of her own story for once, instead of just reacting to everyone else's trauma. Looking ahead to the week of April 27, the mystery surrounding Ethan deepens, and this is where my frustration really spikes. We know Ethan and Christina are going to continue bonding, but there is this massive glaring red flag. The strange voicemail Ethan left on the pier. Who is he calling? Is it Delilah? If Ethan is somehow connected to Delilah, maybe even the father of her child, and he doesn't yet know about her tragic fate, that is a ticking time bomb of absolute devastation. But knowing these writers, I am terrified they are going to take the easy way out and connect him to Jacinda Bracken instead. Jacinda has been casually dropping mentions of her time in Australia. Ethan is a known grifter with ties all over the globe. If Ethan scammed Jacinda in the past, and that is why she is in Port Charles, it makes the world feel incredibly small. And worse, it is going to make things wildly awkward for Christina if she is falling for a guy who has a messy, unresolved history with the woman currently terrorizing her brother's family. It is a tangled web, but it needs to be executed with precision, not just thrown at the wall to see what sticks. Now, let us talk about the most terrifying prediction of all, Lucas. Cassius has planted a poisonous seed in Jen Sidwell's head, suggesting that Lucas is the one responsible for the death of Sidwell's son, Marco Rios. This is absolutely diabolical. Sidwell is a grieving, ruthless, highly dangerous man. Ava Jerome is currently playing a very dangerous game of manipulation with him, trying to use his grief to secure her own financial future, but even Ava might not be able to control the monster once it is unleashed. If Sidwell truly believes Lucas killed Marco, Lucas is a dead man walking. I am genuinely worried for him. Lucas is a doctor. He is not equipped to fight a billionaire crime lord. Cassius doing this proves exactly how soulless he is. It is brilliant villainy, but it makes me physically anxious to watch. The writers are setting up a collision course that is going to leave massive casualties. So where does this leave us as viewers? We have Laura desperately searching for alliances to end Sidwell's blackmail. We have Ava playing with fire in Windermere. We have Sonny and Ethan potentially teaming up to take Sidwell down once and for all. This is the structural climax the show has been building toward for months. But let me make this prediction right now. It is not going to go smoothly. The writers are heavily telegraphing that Ethan's desire for revenge over what happened to his mother, Holly, is going to blind him. Sonny thinks he can control Ethan, but Ethan is a wild card. When the bullets start flying and Sidwell unleashes his full wrath, Port Charles is going to burn. I just hope the show has the courage to follow through on these massive stakes. Do not wrap this up with a neat little bow. Let the consequences be real. Let the heartbreak be permanent. That is what makes a soap opera legendary. That is why we watch. Now, we just have to see if they can actually stick the landing.